It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. 4 types of two-factor authentication, part 2. This video is the second of 2 I have made to describe two-factor authentication. I'll put the link of the first video in the description below. If you haven't viewed that yet, please watch that before you view part 2. Now you remember the old like and subscribe. If you would please like this video and subscribe to the channel, that really helps us make more videos like this. So let's get on with the 4 types of two-factor authentication that you need to know about. Understanding these 3 myths about security makes two-factor authentication feel like snapping on your seatbelt. Myth number 1, passwords protect your account. Google has known this for the past 10 years. Passwords do not protect against the bad guys getting into your account. You may feel since you're using LastPass or a password manager, you're doing all the right things. You may be creating secure passwords for each account, but at the end of the day, passwords don't keep the bad guys out, and Google has known this for the past 10 years. That's why no one at Google uses passwords. We'll talk about what they use in a few minutes. Myth number 2, profile of a hacker. Hackers are not individual people, but are sophisticated bots that travel the internet looking for vulnerable people by gathering personal data. This requires enormous resources, so these are often state-sponsored or related to large criminal organizations. The rapid proliferation of attacks on Google is directly related to digital currency. Whether you are an individual investor or a country that now uses a national digital currency, it all must be stored in a digital wallet. Google has over 1 billion accounts, so this makes them a logical target and likely the reason it is implementing two-factor authentication program. Despite the large number of accounts hackers need to use to destroy and find the money, it is well worthwhile, as it is very profitable. Two-factor authentication is the only way to protect your account. So myth number 3 is I won't get hacked because I don't have anything of value. Well, that is true that you may not have any digital currency, but remember what I said is that these bots have to hack into an awful lot of accounts before they find one that is of value. And as they're attacking all these accounts, Google is deactivating them and trying to kill the bots. But in that process, your account is going to get deleted. So when you wake up in the morning, just think about it. Your email will be gone. All those thousands of Gmail that you use. Google Photos, you may have had your life's work in Google Photos, and you may have put all those old pictures up for your family. All your stuff in Google Drive will be gone. Your Google account will be gone. All right, these are my accounts that are protected by two-factor authentication. You'll see there's a long list of them, but Google is at the top. And the 4 types of two-factor authentication we're talking about today are related to your Google account. So you must then go into each of these other accounts and turn on two-factor authentication. You don't just turn on two-factor authentication for all accounts. It must be done for each individual account. All right, the simplest and most common method used is a text message. You go to log into your bank sends you an SMS text message, which gives you a 6-digit code. You then enter the 6-digit code and have access to your account. Now, even a simpler method is using an authenticator app. This is an app that you would download and place on your cell phone, and there are many people who make these apps. I've given you a list on the left side, and you'll see all of these companies make authenticator apps. The one I use is called Authy, A-U-T-H-Y, and I'll discuss how you might choose an app in just a moment. But the important thing for you to know is that all these apps are free. And all these apps will work in all accounts. So you don't have to have an app for each account. So don't worry about that. A question I always get asked is, which app should I use? And my advice is as follows. If you are a LastPass person and use LastPass all the time, you may want to use the LastPass app. If you're a Googler and use Google all the time, maybe you want to use the Google Authenticator app. If you are a Microsoft Windows person and you use mostly Windows products, then you maybe want to use the Microsoft app. These companies that make these apps are trying to make your life easier. And it depends on what services you use, how they can make this better. Let me give you an example. So you're in Walmart and you're standing there and you pull your phone out to go to your Amazon account because you want to check the price. All right, so you're in Google and you open that up, and then you go to Amazon and you say, okay, what's the price? But when you're getting into your account, you're stopped because you have to put in a 6-digit code, two-factor authentication. You then need to go into the next screen and open the Authenticator app to get the code. Now you're standing in Walmart and you have to remember a 6-digit code to move from one app to the other. You might have to get your pen and pencil out to do this so you remember that 6-digit number. Depends how good your memory is. But if you have the LastPass Authenticator app, it will automatically put the 6-digit code into your Amazon account for you and quickly get you in so you don't have to remember anything. So it makes it easier for you. And all these apps try to make things easier for you depending on how much you use the services. So you just have to try them and find which one works best for you. So let's show you how this works. You're going to go to your account, you go into security, and you're going to say, yes, I want to choose two-factor authentication, and we're going to use an app to do this. Now, when you click on the button that initiates this, you'll see a QR code come onto your screen. You're going to think, oh, what's this all about? Because what it says is, please use your authentication app to scan this code. And you're going to say, well, how am I going to scan this code? This is weird. It's on my computer screen. Well, you simply go to the Authenticator app on your phone. You open the app up, and there'll be a big plus button right in the center of the screen on your phone. You click that, and your phone will turn into a scanner. You simply take the phone over and point it towards the screen, and you'll hear a little bing, and that has created the account and started the authentication process on that account. You then look on the phone, and there will be a 6-digit code there. You simply enter that in as the next step on your on the computer. Now, what actually has happened here? What is this process? And certainly the bad guys can download the app. Why wouldn't they be able to do the same thing? Well, what these are called time-based one-time passwords, or TOTP, and all it is a stopwatch. This app is simply a random number generator that does not have to be connected to the internet. It's simply, when you open the app up, it gives you a 6-digit code that it generates every 30 seconds. What you're doing when you pair the app on your phone to the computer screen is that you're starting the timer. And what the bad guys would never know is when that timer gets started and starts generating the random numbers in sequence every 30 seconds. So now when you want your 6-digit code, you don't have to receive a text message. All you have to do is open the app up, and all the codes for all your accounts are right there, and the numbers are changing every 30 seconds. Real simple. Now, the third type of two-factor authentication is the one that Google is using to auto-enroll you now into two-factor authentication with your Google account. This is the one that's going to automatically be turned on. And this is why it's so important that you have your recovery phone number in your Google account set correctly, and that should be the phone number for your cell phone. And what's going to happen with this is Google is going to use what we call a push notification. If someone tries to log into your account, and that could be you, you'll simply get a notification on your cell phone. And there will be a message saying, is someone trying to sign into another computer, and you either say yes or no to this and allow them in. That's all. So it'll be so simple. There's no text messaging, there's no app, there's no anything there. It's simply a push notification to your cell phone, and you say yes, and that will let that person into your account. That's called a push notification, and that is what Google is using for your account in the auto-enroll process. And the fourth and final way of two-factor authentication is actually by using a key system. This is what Google uses for employees at their account, and it is not hackable. This is actually a physical key that you plug into your computer, and it authorizes your account. All right, I want to leave you with 2 tips. Tip number 1 are backup codes for your Google account. When you go into the security section of your Google account, into where you set up two-factor authentication, you'll find an option for backup codes. These are codes that you can generate. They're 8-digit codes, but are permanent codes that you can use. You can create this, print them out, and keep them in your wallet for future use. If you lost your phone or had a problem getting into your Google account, you can simply use these permanent backup codes, but they can only be used once. So you have 10 options. You can go back into your account and recreate a further 10 8-digit backup codes and reprint them. I have these codes printed and laminated. They sit in my wallet behind my driver's license. All right, tip number 2 has to do with tracking. In my studio here, I rarely get challenged with two-factor authentication because Google tracks me, and I like that. The more Google understands who I am and can distinguish me from the bad guy, the better it's going to protect me. Those of you who use browsers that cloak you, those of you who use VPNs or programs that strip out cookies from your browser, yes, they do keep you anonymous, but that makes it difficult for Google to understand who you are. So yes, you will get challenged more with the two-factor authentication request. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, 4 types of two-factor authentication, part 1 and part 2. The link to part 1 will be in the description below. Until we meet again, please practice safe computing.